Are you looking to win your fantasy football league? You're in the right spot. Today, top 50, 5-0, top 50 wide receiver rankings. We're on flockfantasy.com. The GOAT Mason Dodd said, yo, go ahead and use the comparison tool. Go show all the viewers it off. Here we are, 50 wide receivers, all ranked the best wide receiver rankings on YouTube. Number 1, Ja'Marr Chase. Look at Ja'Marr Chase. 19.6 fantasy PPR points per game is what he's averaged his entire career. Green means good. These top 5 guys, top 10 guys, you're going to see a lot of green. And now currently we're filtering it down to their career stats. If we filter things down to 2024, if we go ahead and look at Ja'Marr Chase specifically, look at Ja'Marr Chase specifically in 2024. This guy he crushed his career averages. He had a career year in 2024. Now, T. Higgins only played 12 games in 2024. Maybe T. Higgins is a bit of a pest in 2025. The Bengals defense sucks. Ja'Marr Chase must be involved for the Bengals to contend. 23.7 PPR points per game is what Ja'Marr Chase had in 2024. Wide receiver 1 finish. Yards per route run, 2.4, pretty solid. 10 yards per target, and obviously the receiving touchdowns were there with 1 touchdown per game was his average. Number 2 receiver in my rankings is Justin Jefferson. Number 3 is CeeDee Lamb. Number 4 is where we start getting a little, dicey in terms of comparison of my rankings to the consensus media. Jefferson's number 2. Now, Jefferson has proven himself to be quarterback proof. Jefferson could potentially be considered just as good of a receiver as Ja'Marr Chase, if not better. But if we're looking at it from a strictly fantasy football perspective, Justin Jefferson and J.J. McCarthy is completely unproven, a completely unproven rookie. I'm not going to go ahead and slide Jefferson ahead of Ja'Marr Chase paired up with Joe Burrow, not just yet. Now, I like Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb because Jefferson, he's proven himself to be quarterback proof. He's proven himself to be insane regardless of the quarterback. 19.4 fantasy PPR points per game with the quarterback carousel in Minnesota. So Jefferson is my wide receiver 2. Wide receiver 3, I have CeeDee Lamb, and I am actually high on CeeDee Lamb this season. If you get CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver 3 price, there's a chance he pays off as the wide receiver 1. And these top 3 guys are where I think the wide receiver 1 upside is pretty likely. I could see it happening for any of these 3 guys. So CeeDee Lamb in 2024 was obviously a down year. Now, his career fantasy points per game is 17.4, much lower than the other 2. But if we just look at his 2024 season, we'll see that it was worse. Why? Prescott was injured. Prescott banged up. Prescott blah, blah, blah. Now, if we look at Prescott specifically as a quarterback, which Prescott is a sleeper quarterback because he has a bad year and then he has a good year. It's a trend he's had for the last 5 or 6 years. And Prescott, surprisingly to me, Prescott has finished as the quarterback 3, the quarterback 7. He's had some good quarterback seasons. So look at CeeDee Lamb, man. The touchdown numbers specifically, touchdowns were trash because he had Cooper Rush at quarterback, actual garbage cans. But CeeDee Lamb still can return plenty of value in 2025. Good pick. Wide receiver 4, I have Puka Nacua. Now, Puka Nacua, wide receiver 4, this is where I get a bit concerned, right? Wide receiver 4, you're actually looking at around ADP of 8, 9, 10. So we're actually at the second half of that first round. So you're getting good value. Puka Nacua, his fantasy points per game is 18 PPR points per game. That's a high number. Rams bring in Davante Adams. The one bad thing about Puka Nacua, and we'll see it in red right here, 0.3 receiving touchdowns per game. Are you crazy? That's not good. That is not a good metric. He hasn't been involved in the red zone. Now, the second half of the 2024 season, the final couple of games, he was getting more involved. They bring in Davante Adams, who's a big body wide receiver who will be involved in the red zone a lot. So I'm a bit concerned about that. Now, Puka obviously will be the alpha. Puka will have a good year. Then you also factor in health. So I have Puka as the wide receiver 4. The upside is there. I'm a little concerned about the longevity and the health issue, though, but wide receiver 4 for sure. Wide receiver 5, you can see the experts have him as wide receiver 6. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 5. Consistency is key. Now, he's actually been dropping down some rankings because he had some knee surgery in the offseason. Knee surgery? It is what it is, guys. No big deal. I've had Amon-Ra St. Brown on my team for the last 2 or 3 years, and he's consistently been a top wide receiver. Now, sure, you might not have the wide receiver 1 upside because in terms of how good of a real-life receiver he is, he's not going to be that Ja'Marr Chase, Jefferson, down-the-field type threat. But he's been consistent. This guy has not missed any games. He plays banged up. He plays injured. And he's just been good. Now, 2024 was actually a down year from a receiving aspect fundamentally for Amon-Ra St. Brown. The reason he actually was still the wide receiver, 5 or 6 or whatever he finished in 2024, which we can actually pull that up now thanks to the Flock Fantasy Comparison Tool. Looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown in 2024, he had a pretty dang good finish, all things considered. He was the wide receiver, I don't even know where, here it is, wide receiver 5. Reason being, his touchdowns. He had a lot of touchdowns, 0.71 touchdowns per game for Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is better than his career average. We're going to see touchdown regression in 2025, but I think we're going to see him go back to the same receiving workload a couple seasons back. Ben Johnson, obviously new OC, Ben Johnson leaves. I think it's going to be all right. Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver 5. You're getting him for consistency. I like it a lot. Now, we start adding some more names for the wide receivers 6 through 10. Coming in at wide receiver 6, none other than Malik Nabers. Now, you can see I'm a bit fading Malik Nabers compared to some of the other experts. They have Malik Nabers at number 5. I have him at number 6. I actually really like Malik Nabers. Like, if you tell me, yo, you have Malik Nabers, I'm happy. I'm happy to draft Malik Nabers. I just want to have Amon-Ra St. Brown ahead of him for now. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been a bit more consistent. Malik Nabers, there's potentially some health issues there, blah, blah. Malik Nabers actually has better quarterback play. He just delivered the best rookie season from a wide receiver in quite some time, 18.2 PPR points per game. Now you add Russell Wilson in. This is going to be a good situation for Malik Nabers. His yards per hour was 2.4 in his rookie year. I expect Malik Nabers to totally crush, and I love him as a pick in the middle second half of round 1 of your fantasy drafts. Wide receiver number 6 in my rankings. Again, all my rankings are free if you join the Discord, link down below. Number 6 is none other than Nico Collins. So again, wide receiver 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 7. Wide receiver 7 for me is Nico Collins. So the reason I like Nico Collins right here, in his career, sure, he started off his career a little bit slow. When Nico Collins is healthy, if we look at 2024 specifically, now Nico Collins was banged up, Nico Collins missed time, which is why he's behind the top 6 guys ahead of him. 17.6 fantasy points per game. The Texans, sure, they invested heavily into their wide receiver room. Christian Kirk, Dusty, Jalen Noel, another 3rd round pick, Jaden Higgins, 3rd or 4th round pick. It's not that concerning. Like, they bring in a couple guys in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round in the 2024-2025 NFL draft, but Nico Collins still is poised as that alpha in the offense. If CJ Stroud is able to stay protected a bit longer in the pocket, if plays are allowed to develop, Nico Collins is going to absolutely crush. This guy's involved heavily in the red zone. He's still going to be their main red zone threat. I expect Nico Collins to be, he's also in that consideration for wide receiver 1 upside in this season. That's my wide receiver 7. Wide receiver 8 is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Now, BTJ slightly falls down these rankings of mine. Why? He falls down a little bit because they bring in Travis Hunter, which you'll see where I have Travis Hunter ranked later on in the video. Travis Hunter coming in. Travis Hunter could be the one in another offense, but BTJ obviously is the one. He had 16.7 fantasy points per game in 2024 as a rookie. His target share was 25%, 10.3 yards per target. Now, interestingly, Trevor Lawrence is actually getting faded as a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence goes undrafted in some leagues. Why is T-Law going undrafted when BTJ and Hunter are top 1st round and 4th round picks? That's a whole different story. BTJ, I like to crush again this year. Just keep in mind there's a bit more risk depending on how involved Travis Hunter is, how much he eats into the target share. You can also make the case that Ingram leaves and Brendan Strange is not going to kind of eat into Ingram's target share as well. So that's why I like BTJ still here at the end of the round 1. Wide receiver 9 in my rankings is A.J. Brown. So I have A.J. Brown over Drake London. Clearly the experts don't agree with that. But the reason I like A.J. Brown right here, he has been such a good real-life wide receiver, especially for this Eagles offense. 28% target share in his career. Let's go ahead and look at what A.J. Brown had in 2024. Keep in mind, the Eagles' schedule in 2024 was ranked one of the easiest. They were able to, pound and ground, blah, 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 ground and pound, all that good stuff. Look at it. 34% target share for A.J. Brown in 2024. Imagine when they have the hardest schedule in the league in 2025, they're going to be passing the ball a bit more. A.J. Brown is poised to crush in 2025 if he's healthy. We could see more involved in the red zone. We could see Saquon Barkley. We're not able to rely on Saquon Barkley as much this year because we need to pass it. A.J. Brown's going to absolutely crush. Love him right here as my wide receiver 9, which is why I have him ranked one spot ahead of the experts. Coming in at number 10, it is Drake London. Now, I do like Drake London. Drake London recently just got disrespected in the top 100 of the NFL. They came out and they said, yo, Drake London, we're going to put him at number 97, barely making the top 100 NFL players right now. It's because he's a young player, right? So he's a young player. They're putting some disrespect on him. 13 PPR points per game. Like, obviously, last year we saw an insane explosion with Michael Penix. He had like 40 points in his final NFL week of 2024. There's a reason to be excited here. The Falcons don't bring in anybody. They have Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 2. They have Ray McLeod, wide receiver 3. They have Nick Nash. Who? Trash. So Drake London is poised to be the alpha. He rounds out my rankings right here at number 10. Number 11 is going to be Tyreek Hill. So I'm actually pretty heavily, aggressively ranking Tyreek Hill right here at number 11. If you see my, top 400 draft guide for free, you'll see just how aggressively I have Tyreek Hill ranked. I actually had Tyreek Hill ranked this high before the Jonnu Smith trade as well. So the reason I like Tyreek Hill so much, Tyreek Hill is it's like McCaffrey, but wide receiver form. Tyreek Hill can be a league winner. He will average you 23 points per game at wide receiver if Tua Tagovailoa is healthy. Now, you could say Tyreek Hill was dusty in 2024. You are right. His 2024 season, he averaged 13 points per game. He was washed, absolutely washed. Everything was bad. Don't even look at it. Tua was banged up. I think Tyreek was banged up too, I think. So, if Tua's healthy, Tyreek will crush his floor, I think. With Tua's healthy, Tyreek's floor is 17.9 PPR points per game. Now, Tua's gone, you're dust. You're screwed. If Tyreek's hurt, you're screwed, right? So, a lot of risk right here. If your league is going to be like a punishment, wouldn't recommend Tyreek Hill right here, but at number 11, seems like a good bet. Number 12, Ladd McConkey. I'm kind of fading Ladd McConkey a little bit. They have him at wide receiver 11. I have him at wide receiver 12. But in my overall big board, I don't like taking Ladd McConkey around pick 18, 17, where I see him going in a lot of best ball drafts. Why? 25% target share in 2024. They bring in Trey Harris. I think Trey Harris is going to eat into that. Quentin Johnson still had a pretty solid 2024. I know, he's not the best wide receiver prospect, but he had 8 touchdowns and like 700 yards. So Quentin Johnson is somebody to consider. I like Ladd McConkey enough to have him still here at wide receiver number 12. I will take Ladd McConkey. If Ladd McConkey falls outside of the top 20 in your draft, then I do think it is worth taking him. He is going to be that alpha in the offense. He's going to consume a lot of the target share. He's going to consume a lot of receptions every single game. Ladd McConkey averaged 72 receiving yards per game, 5 receptions per game, and he's still just going to grow. Like, that was year 1. Year 2, going to crush. Number 13, wide receiver 13, I have Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, what he did with Mahomes last year, his 4 games prior to injury, he was poised for a wide receiver 1 type finish. His career average, 14 PPR points per game. That's great and all. In 2024, I think his average, we'll take a look right here, I think it was closer to 17 points per game. 16.2 points per game, wide receiver 15 through those weeks. But look at their yards per out run. Yards per out run was 2.63. Now, the Chiefs, they are going to have a healthy Marquise Brown. They do have Xavier Worthy, who obviously kind of earned his rookie stripes. We'll talk about Worthy here soon. Rashee Rice is poised to consume a lot of targets. Travis Kelce is washed. I'm fading Travis Kelce heavily this year, which opens up the door for Rashee Rice right here at number 13. Number 14, T. Higgins. Now, again, it seems like I'm on par with the experts right here at wide receiver 14. The experts agree. The problem is, I'm fading T. Higgins right here. Like, I have him at wide receiver 14. He might be someone that I have to bump down in my rankings. He's only averaged 14 PPR points per game. Everything's yellow, man. Like, what has T. Higgins done to make me excited? Oh, that's right. In 2024, he averaged 18.5 PPR points per game and was the wide receiver 6. Problem is, he played 12 games. He was unhealthy. He was banged up. T. Higgins has not delivered a full healthy season ever. So if I'm on the board in my fantasy league and T. Higgins is here at wide receiver 14, I'm not taking him. I'm not taking T. Higgins. I think you should be fading T. Higgins. Why? He's the guaranteed wide receiver 2 in his offense. If Jamar Chase is healthy, T. Higgins is wide receiver 2. Nothing, no more, nothing. He's not. He's not wide receiver 1. He also obviously had a lot of touchdowns contributing to his success in 2024. Any regression in that department? I don't know, man. It's scary. Jermaine Burton has positive buzz in camp. Andre Yoshivas actually was pretty solid last year in 2024. I'm fading T. Higgins a little bit right here, but I still have him at wide receiver 14. Could move him down in the next round. We have number 15, rounding out number 15, we have Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Now, I like JSN because Metcalf, Lockett, JSN showed in 2024 that even with those two pests in the offense, he was able to still have a 20.6% target share, right? So this guy obviously was very, very solid. And that actually isn't even 2024, because if we're looking at 2024 specifically, JSN had a breakout season. His rookie season, he was trash, right? So dusty rookie season, JSN. His yards per out run still wasn't great in 2024, which is a bit concerning. But if we see some improvement, now that he's the true alpha, Cooper Kupp comes in. Cooper Kupp hasn't had over 600, 700 yards in the last 2 or 3 years. 24% target share with those pests in the offense. You bring Scam Darnold into the offense. Scam Darnold just supported an insanely good season from Justin Jefferson. He also had Jordan Addison was looking pretty good with Scam Darnold as well. So JSN's going to be just fine. Sam Darnold likes to air it out a little bit. I think JSN's poised to crush. I like him right here at wide receiver 15. Now we go to guys 16 all the way through 20. Not even halfway there, man. We got a lot of names to talk about. Banger of a video. Please smash the like and subscribe button if you guys appreciate the content. Number 16, scary season. It's Terry McLaurin. Now, the reason I like Terry McLaurin, we're going to go ahead and throw up Rashee Rice again so I can get to the wide receivers. Terry McLaurin is poised to crush this season. Jaden Daniels, year 2. Now, yes, the Commanders, oh my God, the Commanders' schedule's so hard. Jaden Daniels is going to regress. You know who's not going to regress? Terry McLaurin. And if the Commanders' schedule is so hard, sure, McLaurin might have harder matchups. Sure, Jaden Daniels might have. If you're telling me the Commanders are going to be trailing, then surely they're airing it out to Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin dominated 2024 insane season with the GOAT, Jaden Daniels, who had an insanely good rookie year. Obviously, we all know that. So I really like Terry McLaurin. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go 2024, and we're going to apply that. All right, yeah, so next name is going to be number 17 is going to be Mike Evans. Now, Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin, they're honestly interchangeable in my eyes. Mike Evans, he's been a consistent every single year of his career that he is healthy, even though he's super old. Now, he's coming off of a contract year type deal, right? So Mike Evans might not even be with the Buccaneers after the season. That's my prediction. That's why I like Ibuka a lot in dynasty leagues. But Mike Evans, when he's healthy, he just delivers. And guess what? He is healthy. Mike Evans coming off of a pinnacle year in 2024. I'm actually not scared about taking Mike Evans heading into this next season. I think Mike Evans is somebody that can completely crush his rankings currently right now. I mean, I have him ranked, a couple spots ahead of his ADP. They have McLaurin at 19, they have Evans at 20, and here I am at 16, 17. I'm smashing both of them. Number 18 on my list, Marvin Harrison Jr. One of the best wide receiver prospects of all time, but he busts in 2024. 11.6 PPR points per game. That ain't going to cut it. 1.6 yards per. He must have done something to Kyler Murray to anger him. And if he didn't do something to Kyler Murray to anger him, I don't know what he did, man, but hopefully they figured it out in the offseason, because Marvin Harrison Jr., there was flashes of potential, specifically in the red zone. He was a pretty good target in the red zone. Now, there's a chance that you could say, listen, Trey McBride's also going in round 2. Trey McBride can take a step forward in the red zone and also in the receiving game this year as well, which then Marvin Harrison Jr. will be left in the dust with his 23% target share. Year 2 wide receiver, I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. is poised to completely crush this season at wide receiver number 18, on par with the experts. Wide receiver 19, I have Davante Adams. Now, Davante Adams, similar story here with T. Higgins. I'm actually fading Davante Adams. You can see I'm 3 spots behind the experts, and there's a case I can make to have him actually lower. Health is a concern. Now, he did average 17 PPR points per game in 2024. Davante Adams shows no signs of slowing down. He also now has one of the best receiving plays a quarterback he's going to have, most recently with Matt Stafford. I still think Matt Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in terms of skill in the league, in terms of passing. Davante Adams is going to have a field day in the red zone, which is why I have him ranked where he is. Imagine Davante Adams in this Rams offense. I think he could average 1 touchdown per game, and that's not a joke. They have, Tyler Higbee, and they have Terrence Ferguson at tight end. They'll be involved, but not really. Puka wasn't really involved in the red zone. Now, Kyron Williams will be somebody scoring a lot in the red zone. Davante Adams looks real poised to be heavily involved in the red zone in 2025, which is why I do like him. Coming in right here at number 20, finishing out the top 20, we have Garrett Wilson. Now, why do I like Garrett Wilson so much? Because we just had T. Higgins. We just had Davante Adams go off of the board. They're wide receiver 2s. Like, Puka's the alpha. Who's the other guy? Jamar Chase, the alpha. Garrett Wilson in 2024, 15 PPR points per game, 1.7 yards per hour. Like, he's basically just somebody that's respectable. You respect him. He's going to be somebody that's in the mix, flex play, wide receiver 2. If we're drafting for upside, you're probably going for some of the other guys. Like, do you think Justin Fields is going to support a Garrett Wilson breakout season? I don't think Fields has it in him. If we look at Fields' underdog projections on the season, his over-under is 2,500 passing yards and 14 touchdowns. If that's the case, Garrett Wilson is going to be a bust at this current rank, which is why I have him faded 3 spots past the experts at wide receiver 20. That is my top 20. But what's the video called? The video is called Top 50. If you're still here, man, like, subscribe. It's a grind. Number 21 is, who's that? DJ Moore. I was hallucinating, bro. DJ Moore. Why do I like DJ Moore so much? Wide receiver 1. Now, the Bears bring in Burden. They bring in Loveland. They invest heavily. People are saying also, listen, Rome Odunze, top 10 pick in the draft a couple years ago, right? So first round pick, Rome Odunze heading into year 2. People think Rome Odunze is going to take a big step forward. If that's true, DJ Moore is going to be somebody that is the main person that gets hurt by that. So DJ Moore is actually somebody I think could get hurt by a lot of these things. A lot more competition. Rome Odunze year 2. Caleb Williams year 2, which is good for DJ Moore. That's the only positive I see here. DJ Moore's only getting older, but the way he's getting paid, he is still going to be the alpha in this Bears offense. But there's just not enough targets to go around. Like, if you have DJ Moore and you send DJ Moore down to an offense that has absolutely no receivers, I think he would crush. A lot more competition has me worried right here. But I do have DJ Moore at number 21. Number 22 is Mr. DK Metcalf. Now, I like Metcalf a lot because there's nobody in Pittsburgh. If you had DJ Moore in Pittsburgh instead of Metcalf, I'd like DJ Moore. But DK Metcalf, I like him a lot because Calvin Austin? No. Roman Wilson? No. Jonnu Smith? Pat Freiermuth? I'm not that worried. DK Metcalf's going to be totally the sole focus, the only wide receiver here that has upside for Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, any other big body receivers we know that Aaron Rodgers supported before? Oh, Devonta Adams, right. DK Metcalf in 2024 had a pretty bad year, 12.7 PPR points per game. If we look at Metcalf, he's never had a wide receiver 1 season. This is his last chance in my eyes. They get rid of Pickens, they bring in Metcalf. I think Metcalf, the only negative here, the only thing that concerns me, Aaron Rodgers is a bit of a diva. Aaron Rodgers wants you to run your route this specific way. Aaron Rodgers wants you to be in your right spot. Metcalf, he just goes out there and bullies cornerbacks, tosses them to the ground, gets in fights. That might not be good for the chemistry in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, but I still have him at wide receiver 22. 23, I have Mr. Courtland Sutton. Sutton, wide receiver 1 in his offense. No competition. Vele, trash. Mims, trash. Pat Bryant. Michael Thomas, maybe. He's on the sleepers. Courtland Sutton, 14 PPR points per game in 2024, but Courtland Sutton started off the year so slow. Bo Nix started off pretty slow as well, and then when Bo Nix hit his groove, so did Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is poised to be around 15 or 16 even PPR points per game this season. I like him right here at wide receiver 23. Number 24 is Jalen Waddle. Now, Jalen Waddle, a wide receiver 2. The problem here is that there's other wide receiver 1 still on the board, but I still like Jalen Waddle a lot after the Jonnu Smith trade. 10 PPR points per game in 2024. If Jalen Waddle is hurt, if Tua is hurt, if Tyreek is hurt. I mean, if Tyreek's hurt, it's good for Jalen Waddle, but there's the Dolphins offense, a lot of red flags, a lot of things that scare me. Haven't really seen Tua healthy, but if Tua is healthy, Waddle can easily crush 15 PPR points per game. So that would actually be a good value right here. Now that you're at wide receiver 24, Jalen Waddle could return value. They have him at wide receiver 36. That's probably pre-Jonnu trade. Jonnu Smith leaves. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, they're the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 in this offense. And Waddle's age, like Waddle might be able to surpass Tyreek Hill at some point this year as the alpha in this offense. And Tyreek Hill might just be somebody that becomes just a deep downfield threat, whereas Waddle soaks up a lot of the targets. Now, health's a concern for sure. Wide receiver 25. Now, I am high on this guy. I can't wait to see how much higher I have him ranked. 12 spots higher. You know, you're coming here so that you get the best advice. Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is poised to crush 2025. You can see in 2024, down year, 12 PPR points per game. I have a wide receiver 25. He finished as the wide receiver 40. Okay. Cam Ward comes in. Cam Ward is going to be one of the best quarterback play Calvin Ridley has had in recent years. Listen, he was the wide receiver 40 finish with Mason Rudolph and Will Levis. Actual trash, actual dust. Calvin Ridley has had 1,000-yard seasons. Calvin Ridley has had good involvement in the red zone. Calvin Ridley will be a deep threat. Nick Westbrook-Akine is gone. The touchdown pest is gone. The tight end, the wide receiver 2s, Tyler Lockett, Dusty, Alik Almaner, Chimeri Dike, like a bunch of young rookies. Calvin Ridley's going to be the alpha, the clear alpha. I think Calvin Ridley could have like 7 or 8 targets every single game. If that's the case, Calvin Ridley's poised to crush. I'm insanely high on him. That rounds out the top 25. We're halfway there. Now we start looking at some of the sleepers. This is going to be great, man. 26. Where are we at? Zay Flowers. So Zay Flowers at 26, it feels like it's a good discount. You're getting a wide receiver 1 right here at wide receiver 26. He finished as the wide receiver 35 in 2024. Now, it's not as exciting because you can see 12.3 PPR points per game in 2024. There's not much upside. The Ravens just don't pass the ball to make this dangerous enough. He also wasn't involved as much in the red zone when you have Isaiah Likely, when you have Mark Andrews, when you have Rashad Bateman, who are kind of more of the red zone threats. But I do like him right here at number 26. Number 27 is Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is the only person on this Lions offense that everyone's fading because of the offensive coordinator leaving. They're saying, oh, fade this guy, fade this guy. Jameson Williams is the only one people aren't fading. Now, this guy is poised for a good year, his best year yet. Wide receiver 26 finish in 2024, and I currently have him ranked as the wide receiver 27, right? So you're kind of getting him right where he finished in 2024. Do you think he's going to be any better? Probably. I mean, this is somebody that's heading into year 3. He had the gambling, he had the suspension, he's had the injuries. Kind of been pretty unlucky up to this point in his career. 11.6 yards per target. The new offensive coordinator, guess what? What does he like to do? He likes to air it out a lot more than the previous one. Who's the main downfield target? Jameson Williams. They bring in Isaac Tesla, not concerning. Sam Laporta, Amon St. Brown. Jameson's debatably the wide receiver 3 in this offense. I still like him a lot at value. I like him a lot in best ball leagues as well. Number 28, Tet McMillan. I'm high on Tet McMillan because the prospect profile for him is very, very good. And also, Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen. I do think Legette and Thielen will be involved. I think they're both sleepers in their own respect. But I think T-Mac can be somebody that comes in and soaks up a lot of the targets. Now, you can see I have him 7 spots behind the experts. Why? Bryce Young. Are we really, I get Bryce Young looked better at the second half of 2024. Are we going to pretend that we think Bryce Young can compare to Joe Burrow, can compare to Jalen Hurts, can compare to Jared Goff, can compare to Lamar Jackson in supporting that amount of wide receiver points consistently? I'm not aboard that train, but I do like Ted McMillan if he falls, wide receiver 28. Number 29, I have Devontae Smith. I think people are also a bit aggressive on Devontae Smith, and I don't like it. They have him at the wide receiver 23? No, 29. Fade Devontae Smith a little bit now. The reason Devontae Smith is going a little bit higher, right, is because usually if you get Devontae Smith in round 4, you can get Jalen Hurts in round 5 and you get a stack. I get that. I actually don't mind that. Now, Devontae did have a 28% target share in 2024. Devontae was the wide receiver 17, 15 points per game. So I do see that, but he had 0.6. So his touchdowns, a lot of touchdowns. Now, if we go from the other years, if we go his full career, what does Devontae Smith look like if we just go to his full career in terms of touchdowns? It's a lot lower. If we see touchdown regression with Devontae Smith, things could be shaky. Devontae Smith, his health also concerns me. We've been saying it year in, year out. Small dude, big hit, you're gone, right? So I'm a little concerned about Devontae Smith heading into this year, which is why he's ranked at wide receiver 29. Number 30, somebody I'm a bit aggressive on again. Or maybe not. I guess I'm fading him based on the expert having him at 22. I have Travis Hunter at wide receiver 30. Brian Thomas Jr. is there as the alpha. The ceiling is capped for Travis Hunter. With that said, Travis Hunter debatably is a better wide receiver prospect than Ted McMillan. And you got Trevor Lawrence there. Trevor Lawrence, we know, is going to be a functional quarterback. I have more faith in T-Law than I do Bryce Young at this point. And I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot more to prove than Bryce Young, because Bryce Young, the Panthers aren't expected to be good, whereas the Jaguars might have higher expectations now that they have 2 insane receivers of BTJ, and they just traded 2 first-round picks for Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, you got to mention defense. Is he playing defense? I mean, I thought McCaffrey was going to be healthy last year, right? So don't trust anything the media is telling you. I do like Travis Hunter a lot, though. I thought wide receiver 30 was going to be a bit ahead of him. Travis Hunter is falling in the ranks, is falling down draft boards so far this year, especially in best ball drafts. So I'm actually liking the falling value on Travis Hunter, and I'm picking him up if I can get him in round 5, in round 6. Number 31, we're in the 30s. Number 31, I have Jerry Jeudy. Now, with Jerry Jeudy, the Browns don't have a quarterback. You want to say that, listen, what if Joe Flacco starts all year? Then sure, Jerry Jeudy's poised to crush. The rumor, Deontay Johnson started the rumor, is that Kenny Pickett, he thinks is going to be the starting quarterback. Pickett ain't going to support an alpha wide receiver. Shedeur Sanders ain't going to support an alpha wide receiver. Dylan Gabriel, no. You need Flacco. The quarterback is just too scary in this situation. You know you're going to have quarterback volatility. There's a case to be made where, listen, what if Flacco starts the first 4 weeks, Jerry Jeudy looks insane, you trade Jerry Jeudy after week 2, after he drops 20 points. You could do that. I am not taking that risk. I don't want to rely on having to trade somebody, knowing that Joe Flacco, the Browns' schedule the first 4 weeks is insane, by the way. I know that Kenny Pickett's going to be in there. I know one of the bum rookies is going to be in there. And that scares me for Jerry Jeudy's alpha potential. He did still average 14 points per game in 2024. So if we do look like wide receiver 24 in 2024, can he return that same value? Because we're getting him right here. I have him wide receiver 31. So technically, you would get value if he finishes the same, but it's a scary situation to be relying on. Next up, 32. I hope that I'm fading this guy. It's going to be Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy, thank God. I'm 6 spots fading him. The reason I don't like Xavier Worthy, everything's red. Why are we acting like Xavier Worthy is the GOAT? 1.2 yards per hour run, trash. 11 points per game, trash. Wide receiver 40. Marquise Brown's back. Rashee Rice is back. Kelsey could be more involved. I don't get it. Now, the only logic, a wide receiver heading into year 2. Okay, that is the only logic you could ever convince me to have Xavier Worthy ranked this high, but wide receiver 32, it's worth a flyer just for that same reasoning I just gave. Number 33 is Olave. Love the Olave price this year. At right on par with the experts. 3 yards per out run in 2024. He's one big hit, one concussion away from retiring. Gone. You're done, buddy. You're Tua. You're done. You're done. Done. I keep saying done and gone. I combine it, right? But the quarterback situation is scary again. Tyler Ruff, whatever his name is. That's scary. Who is it? I don't know. I didn't even know that guy in college, right? So is he going to be able to support an Olave wide receiver 1 type season? That's something that scares me. 9 PPR points per game in 2024. Obviously, he was injured. But I love the Olave price right now. Like you're getting a wide receiver 1 this late in the draft. Now we go to the next name, 34, I believe. Going to be George Pickens. Now, the reason I like Pickens is mostly because he's going to have some of the best quarterback play of his career, and mostly because Las Vegas, underdog, has his over-under at like 1,000 receiving yards. Vegas is usually right, guys. They're not going to be looking to lose money. So Vegas is predicting George Pickens to have a good year, then so am I. So I have him right here at, 34? We're 34 right now. 27% target share in 2024. 12 points per game. It was a down season. Steelers say, get out, you're a diva. He goes to Dallas. CeeDee Lamb is the alpha, but Pickens still is going to have a role because the Cowboys never have had somebody as the wide receiver 2. Brandon Cooks, Dusty, Tolbert, Dusty, Turpin, Dusty, unless you're in a special teams type league like me. But Pickens at wide receiver 34, I do like that a lot. I think he'll return value. 35. Chris Godwin. Now, there's a case to be made that Chris Godwin can be the one in this offense with Mike Evans. Godwin obviously was insane. Look at this. In 2024, wide receiver 2. Ahead of Jefferson. 19.7 points per game. Everything is green. Everything is good. Life is amazing. If Chris Godwin does this again in 2025, he will win you your league. And you're saying, why wouldn't he? Egbuka's there. I mean, Godwin is immediately way over Egbuka. I'm not concerned about that. Evans is leaving the Buccaneers after this year. Godwin probably isn't. So I think Godwin could be somebody that, if he's healthy, is a league winner. I like him a lot at wide receiver 35. 36, Jordan Addison. And I'm debating, like, do I drop Jordan Addison down the draft board? Jordan Addison had a pretty solid 2024 season, which is why I still have him here. It looks like he is going to be suspended the first 3 games of the year in 2024. If that's the case, I'm still not taking him unless it's like a keeper type league where I get value the following season. 14 points per game in 2024. JJ McCarthy, rookie quarterback. I still think Jordan Addison finishes around wide receiver 25 again. So you're getting him and you're expecting that he'll be kind of a flex play, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 in your lineup every single week. Name 37. Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir, PPR leagues, he's going to be getting a lot of targets, a lot of slot receptions every single game. Like looking at his yards per target, 8.6, not much. Nothing in the red zone. 1 touchdown every 4 games. But he did average 5 receptions a game, 54 yards a game. The Bills don't really bring in any receivers. They're relying on Keon Coleman year 2 breakout. They do bring in Josh Palmer, who I love as a sleeper. He won't be in the top 50, obviously. But Shakir comes in right here at 37. 38. Matthew Golden. This is our first rookie, I believe, except for T-Mac and Travis Hunter. Those are the alphas. So our third rookie wide receiver is Matthew Golden. I think this is a bit high. You can see I'm a bit higher on him than the consensus. Why? I'm really looking for guys that can smash expectations. If you get him at wide receiver 37, what if he comes out, delivers a wide receiver 20 season? It's pretty good from a redraft league potential standpoint, right? Like, who does he have competing against him? Watson's out for the year. Romeo Dobbs contract year. We don't even know how much they're going to use him. I do think Jaden Reed is also comparable to Golden. I think I should probably bump Golden down a little bit to get closer to where I have Jaden Reed ranked, but I have Golden at 38 for right now. Number 39 is going to be Ricky Pearsall. Now, I would argue that you can call Ricky Pearsall a rookie as well. Obviously, he had the most unlucky 2024 season of all time. His stats are going to reflect that. George Kittle is there, guys. A lot of people are a bit more aggressive on Pearsall than I am. Let me remind you, Kittle is there. Kittle is good. Kittle's the alpha. If McCaffrey's healthy, McCaffrey will have a 20% target share by himself. How much targets are left? Ayuk? Let's just assume Ayuk misses the first 4 games because he probably will. So that actually opens the door for Pearsall. I think Juwan Jennings isn't great, but Juwan Jennings will have a 20% target share or more if he's healthy. How much is left for Ricky Pearsall? How involved will he be? His target share was 13% in 2024, right? Obviously, an insanely unlucky season. I like the upside with Pearsall. Obviously, he has the draft capital. He's got the story. He has opened up target share with Debo leaving, but Debo leaves, McCaffrey's back. I would monitor the camp buzz around Ricky Pearsall, see how involved he is in camp, see if there's any positive buzz, and that would kind of make me more motivated to take Pearsall right here. I have him wide receiver 39. Wide receiver 40. Like this guy a lot. Like him a lot. Josh Downs. You can see I'm probably going to be higher than the experts. I guess not. They have him at 38 too, so they're aware. They're smart guys. Wide receiver 40 for Josh Downs. I think he's the alpha in this offense. Pittman, always injured. Already having some injuries in camp with back issues. Josh Downs, 13 PPR points per game in 2024. 2.3 yards per outrun. He actually had one of the best receiving seasons of his career with bad quarterback play. Now, Daniel Jones, I believe, can support decent wide receiver production. If Richardson's the quarterback, though, that is going to cap Josh Downs' upside, which is why it is a bit scary. Now that we're in the realm of wide receiver 40, though, Josh Downs, you get him in round 8, round 9, it's not that much risk incurred for a guy that can be the wide receiver 1 in his offense, somebody young, somebody on the way up. What if that 13 points per game becomes 15? That's somebody that you're going to want in your flex spot, in your wide receiver 2 spot, in your lineup. Name number 41. We're getting close. And I actually like how I have my rankings because I do have, at 41, I have Jaden Reed. I think I'm high on Jaden Reed this year. I'm not saying, oh, go take him, you really want him. But I'm not going to say avoid him because I think Jaden Reed will probably be a bit more involved than Matthew Golden off the bat. I think they'll kind of be even in terms of how they're involved. 16% target share in 2024. It seems like sometimes they just say, Jaden Reed, we're going to completely script the game with you in mind. And in other games, they're like, you know what? We're not going to give you the ball. So with Christian Watson being out, I do think it opens the door for Reed to be a bit more involved. This is somebody that they're going to want to make the focal point of their offense with Tucker Kraft, with Matthew Golden. It's just years to wow us, we're not wowed. Fantasy counselor always says that. I say it too. He hasn't wowed us before. Do we want to rely on him to wow us again when they just drafted Matthew Golden? I'm not super excited. Wide receiver 41. 42 is Stephon Diggs. Now, you're getting a wide receiver 1 at this point. The Patriots have nobody. Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas. What's that bum's name? He's on my team, bro. I don't even remember his name. Keyshawn Booty? He's Booty. Stephon Diggs, right here. I'm right on par with the experts. The reason I like Stephon Diggs a little bit, and I just deleted the other guy, my bad, but Stephon Diggs, coming off of the injury, But you have Drake May. Drake May going into year 2. People think Drake May is going to crush. If Drake May crushes, it's going to be because Stephon Diggs is involved in this passing game as well. He has upside to be like a wide receiver 20 finish. Kind of dusty. He's doing pink sand on both with a bunch of girls. Like, it's kind of concerning. Number 43 is Jacoby Myers. I feel like I'm going to be a bit higher on Jacoby Myers than the experts. A couple spots ahead of him. Jacoby Myers in 2024, take a look. You guys might be surprised. He had a 25% target share, 15 points per game. Now, if Deontay Thornton's involved, if Jack Bech is involved, if Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, I still think is going to be heavily involved as the wide receiver in this offense with Geno Smith. Geno Smith, he just supported JSN, so JSN had a pretty good year. I think Jacoby Myers could be similar. I'm not super worried about Jack Bech coming in, immediately taking it from Jacoby Myers. I'm not super worried about Deontay Thornton. Now, sure, Bowers is going to have targets. Jenny's going to have some targets as well. Jenny did have a 600 receiving yard season in college. Jacoby Myers still is going to have like 14 points per game, and I'm fine taking that right here when I have him at wide receiver 43. Number 44, who do we got? Cooper Kupp. Dusty, not exciting, but he is immediately the wide receiver 2 in this offense with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's going to have a lot of pressure to perform. Cooper Kupp is somebody that he's been here before. He'll be that veteran presence. He'll be the safety blanket for Sam Darnold. If Cooper Kupp's healthy, he did average 14.6 PPR points per game as the wide receiver 22. We're getting him at wide receiver 44. He was a wide receiver 22 when he was healthy in 2024, so I don't mind it, but, kind of dusty, not exciting. I think there's other shinier objects. And speaking of dusty, wide receiver 45, Deebo Samuel. Deebo is going to be the wide receiver 2 in this Commanders offense. Worst 2024 season I've ever seen in my life. Let's go ahead and look at 2023 just for Deebo Samuel. He's had good seasons in the past, but in those seasons he was heavily involved. He had like career years in terms of targets and in terms of rushing when he had this career year right here. He obviously was the wide receiver 12. He had 16 points per game. Are the Commanders really going to try fitting him in like that? He still looks kind of big. He looks pretty chunky. Pneumonia, blah, blah, health concerns. Is he going to stay healthy? McLaurin's the alpha. He is now with Jaden Daniels. I don't mind Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo Samuel could be a league winner, or he could just be a trash artifact. Dusty. But wide receiver 45 seems good. 46, Brandon Ayuk. We got Deebo's counterpart, and isn't that funny? So Brandon Ayuk, this is wide receiver 46. If this is kind of factoring in, like, he's going to miss 4 games. I know he is. He's going to lose your league. If you draft him and he misses 4 games, like, that sucks. That sucks. If Ayuk is healthy, though, he's technically the wide receiver 1 over Jawan Jennings. Obviously, he was dusty in 2024 prior to the injury, though. But in 2023, he was good. So there is hope that Brandon Ayuk can come out and be like a wide receiver 20 or even higher in points per game. If everyone's healthy on this 49ers offense, I think Ayuk might kind of be like a 23% target share, similar to what he had in 2024. So I don't really love taking Ayuk either. Number 47, Rome Odunze. I find myself fading Rome Odunze. Like, when I think about Rome Odunze, I tell myself this. Rome Odunze is going to have a better year 2 than year 1. He had 800 receiving yards, a couple touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. He's going to have a better year, but DJ Moore's still there. Luther Burden is now in. Loveland is now in. Too much competition. Too much competition for my liking. Wide receiver 63 finish. I don't like taking him, at wide receiver 33, where the experts have him. Absolutely not. Not drafting him in a single league at that price. Number 48, we're 3 names away. Who's going to make it? 48, Michael Pittman Jr. So yes, while Josh Downs I do have ranked over Pittman, I have Josh Downs way ahead of ADP, right? So Pittman has to come in here at number 48, right ahead of where the experts have him. Just because we have seen him be a safety blanket. When he's healthy, he's good. When he's healthy, he can be somebody that is the wide receiver 30 or higher. And you're getting him right here at wide receiver 50. So there is value to be gained if Pittman develops a connection with Daniel Jones. If Pittman and Richardson, maybe Richardson takes a step forward if he's playing. If not, Daniel Jones is going to pass the ball 10 yards down the field. Pittman can be that big-bodied guy that gets those catches, gets a lot of receptions every single game. Pittman banged up in 2024. These stats don't even count. In 2023, he was solid, so I like him at number 48. 49, 2 names left. 49, I have Darnell Mooney, and I am big on Darnell Mooney this season. buzz out of camp. Direct quote, Falcons plan to rely on Darnell Mooney more than last season. Last season, Darnell Mooney was the wide receiver 38. They're relying on him more? Okay. Penix, year 2? I smell wide receiver 25 upside. Wide receiver 25 for Darnell Mooney is not out of the realm of possibilities. He's had 1,000 receiving yard seasons, 21% target share. If they increase that to 25, I think Mooney could be at like 13, 14 points per game and be a solid flex play every single week as the wide receiver 2 in his offense. Obviously, it relies on Penix being decent. Wide receiver 50, I'm guessing I'm probably fading this guy compared to the experts. Jawan Jennings, I have 11 spots past ADP. Years to wow us, I'm not wowed. Sure, this guy has had 40-point bombs. I don't want to start someone that's going to get 3 points one week and 40 the next week. I want someone like Darnell Mooney who's going to have 13 points a week, that at least I know what I'm getting. It's safe, and then I can have Jamar Chase as my wide receiver 1 that's popping off, rather than having dusty Jawan Jennings win me a week and then lose me the next week. That's why I have him wide receiver 50. That's why I'm fading him a little bit. Also, a lot of target competition in that 49ers team. It's McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall. Not everyone can be, getting the targets, guys. That's the top 50 wide receiver rankings. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. You want to see more? Let me know. Peace.